YouTube, it's Becky from Becky Writes. This is Becky Reads, and this is a 12 Days of Christmas vlog. I am bringing you my top 5 favorite nonfiction books of 2016. Now, as of the filming of this video, I've read 133 books total, and 42 of them have been nonfiction books. So, solidly, just about a third of the books I've read this year have been nonfiction, and 42 is a lot of books anyway, and for them to all be nonfiction books, it means I had a whole bunch of great books to choose from. Although I have a top 5, I do want to give a quick honorable mention to Shrill by Lindy. This would have been number 6 if I was doing a top 6, but I do want to give it an honorable mention because it is a fantastic nonfiction book. Alright, now on to my top 5. The first thing is to say that the majority of these books I listen to as audiobooks, which can enhance or take away from the story, depending upon what kind of story it is. Only one of them did I actually physically read with my eyes, so there you go. My number 5 favorite nonfiction of the year is going to be A Brief History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. I love Bill Bryson. I love his wit, his humor, that's a mix of American humor and the sort of dry British wit. He is not for everybody. Some people find him kind of boring, but I absolutely love him. I think he's great. And A Brief History of Nearly Everything is no exception. Now, Bill Bryson is known for writing travel memoirs like A Walk in the Woods, and the most recent one, A Road to Little Dribbling. But this is a history of science. It is a history of how the different branches of science came to be. And as someone who is not good at science, who is intimidated by science, this was a great overview. It explains where physics came from and where paleontology came from and how they all interwove together and how it was of the fashion for well-educated gentlemen of the 17, 18, and early 1900s to do science as a hobby, because that's what you did. You just did smart things if you had money, which is so very different than the way we perceive people with wealth now. So it's both a smattering of the actual science and the science history, and I just loved it. If you are someone who's intimidated by science, this is a great, great, great place to kind of dip your toe into science, because it's just about half science, half history, and I thought it was great. My 4th favorite nonfiction of the year is The Lost City of Z by Joshua Hammer. This book is so much fun. It's actually being turned into a movie. It's a nonfiction book being turned into a movie, and it's so great. It's about the search for El Dorado by a guy named Percy Fawcett, who was a turn-of-the-century adventurer who traveled through India and through the Pacific Islands and spent lots of time trekking through the Amazon. He was convinced that there was a large-scale civilization in the Amazon, and he was off to find it. He went into the Amazon and was never found again, and the legends around him have grown up to the point that people for 100 years have been going into the Amazon searching for him. This book is engrossing and it's fast. It reads kind of like a novel, and yet it's got so much history. Percy Fawcett was one of the inspirations for Indiana Jones and is just such a fun and fascinating nonfiction. This would be a good book to have on a car ride if you listen to audiobooks, and if you're someone who isn't sure about audiobooks, this is also a great place to start. I loved it. I found it so engaging. I would recommend it to anybody. My 3rd favorite nonfiction read of the year is one that has a little bit more gravity. In fact, the next 2 are a little bit more serious, and that is Between the World and Me by Ta-Nahasi Coates. Between the World and Me is a pretty short memoir-ish. It's written as a letter between Ta-Nahasi Coates to his 15-year-old son on the event that the officer who shot Mike Brown was not indicted for the child's killing. So this young man was 15, watching this police officer not even go to trial, and was so upset about it. His father couched this whole story about blackness and his experience of having a black body in the United States in the form of a letter to his son. Now, I listened to this as an audiobook, and I thought it was so much more powerful to hear Ta-Nahasi Coates himself speak the words he was writing to his son with his inflections and his emphasis. It was just, I don't have a lot of words. I've continued to think about it. It's one I've recommended. It's a really short read. It took me less than 3 hours to listen to the audiobook, so it is something that you can certainly sit down and wrestle with and read, but it's one that's going to bring you back and make you think again and again and again. I think it should be required reading for everyone, and if you are interested at all in issues of race in America, this is a great place to begin. It's not a lot of theory, it's not a ton of history, it's really just the experience of one individual and the way that racism has impacted one individual life, and his experiences of moving in America with his black body and the fears and the concerns that he has with the black body. I just think it's fantastic and it's beautiful. The audiobook is beautiful and it's one of my favorites because it's one of the ones that's challenged me the most. My second favorite nonfiction book of the year is another one that challenged me, and that is The Argonauts by Maggie. This is the only one that I read with my eyes and didn't listen to as an audiobook. This is a challenging book for a lot of reasons. The first is that there's a lot of queer theory that can be a bit to slog through, but it also is a story of family and gender identity and love, and where all those things collide when Maggie, who identifies as a cisgender, bisexual, lesbian person, same gender loving woman who engages into a life together with a woman who presents as a man but still identifies as a woman, and what that gender queerness is, how that means in terms of the family that they're creating together, what it means to be a mother, and the queerness of pregnancy, just all these things that are wrapped up in a pretty short book that has made me think a lot about sexuality, identity, relationships, parenthood, all these different things that are essential to the human identity. Even if you never become a parent, even if you choose to be a celibate, all these different things, you still have a sexual identity, you still are a part of a family, and I thought it was great. It's a challenging book, both in the language style as well as in the concepts, but it's a beautiful book and I would recommend it to everyone. And finally, my favorite nonfiction of the year should come as no surprise. It is one that I've recommended again and again and again. I raved about it when I read it and I will rave about it now, and that is The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. Disclaimer, I don't watch Shonda Rhimes' shows. I have watched maybe 4 episodes of Grey's Anatomy. I do not watch a lot of television, so I picked this up simply because I thought Shonda Rhimes was fascinating as a woman and I want to hear what she had to say, and I loved it. This translates much better as an audiobook because I think one of the things that people don't like about it is the style of language, and I think hearing her speak the words really works a lot better than reading them on the page. She just comes to life. She's bold and she's vibrant, and it's her story of overcoming fear and the things that have challenged her and how she's grown, the things that are her priorities and how she owns them, like the fact that she's always wanted to be a parent but she doesn't want to get married. And what does that mean in the modern world of women being told that like their highest calling is to find their partner, even if they don't have children with them? It is just such a beautiful, fascinating, wonderful memoir, and I got so much life out of it. I got so much life out of hearing her speak and her energy and her enthusiasm. I would totally recommend it to everyone. I would recommend the audiobook version over the print book version. This was just so, so great, and I got so much out of it, and I've recommended it to many, many people. Alright you guys, that's my top 5 favorite nonfiction reads of 2016. Comment down below and let me know what your favorite nonfiction read of 2016 was. I'm always looking for recommendations. I love nonfiction. I particularly love nonfiction that I can listen to on audio, so I would love to hear your thoughts. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!